here is still under lockdown. Canada is slowly lifting some restrictions, but for the most part, we are still told to stay at home as much as possible. Although quarantine is for our safety and should be taken seriously, a lot of people are getting bored in the house and are in the house bored. So today I'm here to entertain you, but also scare you a little. You're welcome. Hey everyone, what's up and welcome back to Most Amazing Top 10. I'm your host, Lindsay Ivan, and today I'm bringing you the top 10 scary quarantine urban legends part 2. This is part 2, so don't forget to check out the first part if you haven't already. Starting off this countdown, we have the fake news. In March, a scam text message was being sent around to many Americans. The text said, "Please be advised, within 48 to 72 hours, the president will evoke what is called the TYPHOID Act. Stock up on whatever you guys need to make sure you have a 2-week supply of everything. Please forward to your network." This caused people to go into a panic and mass grocery shop. Well, legend goes that this was a ploy by corporations to increase their sales. They knew that by sending this text, it would cause people to overshop and spend tons of money. Very sneaky. In our 9th spot, we have 5G. Although we are facing a worldwide crisis, a lot of people are more worried about the 5G towers instead of the virus itself. It's crazy, but legend goes that the 5G cell towers are all part of a grand scheme to take control of the Earth. The quarantine was just a step in this process. The government wants us at home so that no one will see them setting up these towers all around the world. In fact, some noticed that the towers were installed in Wuhan just before the outbreak. Legend goes that the quarantine was in place so that they could finish installing these towers undetected. Some believe that 5G is a tool that the government will use to make everyone fall into a docile state so that they can be more easily controlled and manipulated by them. Soon, everyone will be under the command of the government. In our 8th spot, we have the immune system. There's now a legend going around that staying at home all this time will weaken our immune system. Since we are at home, we aren't getting exposed to the same amount of germs that we are normally faced with. Our bodies typically build up a resistance to those germs, and that's what strengthens our immune system. But since we're at home, we aren't getting this exposure. Now, this is a legend for now, since not a lot of experts know if this is true or not. What they do say is that we may get sick when we get out of quarantine because we will be in contact with more people. More people means more germs and more of an opportunity to catch something. But it doesn't necessarily mean that this was a result of a weakened immune. Moving on at number 7, we have the haunted house. Reports say that more and more people are facing hauntings while stuck at home. In fact, the paranormal researcher John E.L. Tenney said that before the pandemic, he would get 2 to 5 calls a month from people convinced that their homes are haunted. But since the pandemic, he gets at least 5 to 10 calls a week. So now legend goes that ghosts are becoming more and more active. Maybe it's from people being at home all the time. They're finally realizing how creepy their house is or something. There have been an increased amount of people hearing footsteps in their hallways, hearing whispering through their televisions that are off, and getting text messages from deceased friends or relatives. John believes that during times of tragedy or stress, people become more in tune with the paranormal side. Seems like this new normal is the paranormal. Let me know in the comments below if you've ever had a creepy paranormal encounter. Making our way down to list number 6, we have the psychosis. This next legend kind of goes in hand with the previous one. So maybe it's not ghosts that are haunting people. Maybe they're just slowly turning insane. Legend goes that people are starting to get a little loony in quarantine, and as a result, they are seeing and hearing things. Not only that, but there have been an increased amount of UFO sightings as well. So people are convinced that they are starting to hallucinate. Soon we'll be talking to inanimate objects. It's gonna be like Beauty and the Beast. We're now at our 5th and halfway mark with the UFOs. So in my first video I mentioned that quarantine might be a way for the government to move aliens around undetected. They're using this time to transport aliens to a more secure facility without us knowing. And like I said before, there have been an increased amount of UFO sightings. So now legend goes that we are in quarantine because aliens have escaped Area 51 or whatever government facility they are being held in. One person said that he was on his porch when he saw a massive white orb orb floating in the sky. It seemed to just move slowly across the sky. Maybe it was just a cloud or something. But then another person came forward and said that they were in their backyard when they saw a metal disc in the sky. The disc spun fast before disappearing without a trace. So, what do you think? Have aliens escaped? Are they going to invade our world, or do they just want to get back home? Let's hope for the last one. We don't need an alien invasion in 2020 as well. Moving on to number 4, we have the trip to Mars. Despite everything that's going on right now, NASA is still planning to launch a rover to Mars that will bring back samples containing microbial life. Okay. There's just one problem with that. They could possibly bring back a deadly disease that we have never experienced before. Who knows what this sample will contain, especially if they are looking for microorganisms to bring back. So now, legend goes that they are keeping us in quarantine for when this happens, just in case they do bring back something deadly. Sure, they have brought back samples from the moon and it's been okay, but Mars is a little different. Mars used to have water on it, meaning that life might have been on it as well. I'm just saying, it's a bad idea, but at least they have us quarantined in case a new alien virus emerges. In our third spot, we have the survival tactic. Whose family is out here making a ton of banana bread? Mine certainly is. Sorry, Mom. But what's the reason behind this? Of course, people are doing bigger shops, so they are buying more at once, and then they're afraid of wasting anything. So instead of throwing out brown bananas, people are using them in banana bread. But legend goes that we are baking banana bread as a survival tactic, okay? Just hear me out. So our body is scared that we are going to experience a food shortage. As a result, our body is telling us to carb up and bulk up so that we will be good for a while if a shortage does occur. So in reality, we are baking more and eating more as a survival tactic so that we are prepared for the worst case scenario. So maybe don't worry so much if you're putting on the pounds while in quarantine. In our second spot, we have Typhoid Mary. Who here has heard the story of Typhoid Mary? If you haven't, Mary Mallon was a cook that worked for a bunch of different families. She got her name because she was an asymptomatic carrier of the typhoid germ. As a result, she infected 51 individuals and killed 3. She was considered the first person in the United States identified as an asymptomatic carrier of the disease. Eventually, it was discovered that she was getting people sick because she wasn't being sanitary when cooking others' meals. So Mary was forced into isolation. She spent 26 years in isolation until she died. So now legend goes that any asymptomatic carriers of the current virus will follow the same fate as Mary. It's said that they will be isolated and stuck in quarantine until the day they die. And in our number 1 spot, we have the Quarantine 2.0. So I hate to break it to you, but according to this next legend, this isn't going to be our only quarantine. It is believed that a new disease will emerge that will force us back into quarantine. This disease is referred to as Disease X. It's an unknown disease that scientists believe and anticipate could wipe out all of mankind. They don't know what this disease is, but after analyzing the current state of our world, they are convinced it will happen in the future. World Health Organization Committee Science Advisor John Arne Rottingen said that the next big outbreak will be something that we haven't seen before. The World Health Organization then goes on to say that it's only a matter of time before an extremely deadly disease wipes out the population. There are so many different strains of bacteria and virus, they could easily just change and form a new disease. So we should just get used to being in quarantine. And on that cheery note, let's move on to our comment shoutout portion. I'll be shouting out comments from my video, Top 10 Creepiest Things Found in Museums. Maz commented, imagine having to deliver these to the museums. Yeah, imagine that being like, yeah, I got a severed toe for you guys, here you go. They got some weird stuff. I Am a Squash commented, when I was little I went to the Ripley's Believe It or Not Museum in the Wisconsin Dells for my birthday. That place is horrifying. I guess it's not a good place to spend your birthday then, sorry about that. Kawaii Milkshake Nightmare commented, is it me? But does her hair look so soft? I think it is. I think you're right. And that's all the comments I'm showing out for today's video. Make sure to comment something down below for a chance to be featured in my next comment shoutout. And as always, don't forget to give this video a big thumbs up and subscribe to Most Amazing Top 10 for more amazing videos. I've been your host, Lindsay Ivan, and I'll see you when I see you. There's now a legend going around that staying at home all this time will in fact, the paranormal recessor, nice. Legend goes that any despite everything that's going on right now, NASA, why am I going like NASA? Despite everything that's going on right now, NASA, why am I saying it like that? NASA. I know, but I feel like I'm only like NASA.